Monday on RTV6 News at noon, we check in with Dr. Dirt for your gardening questions. Dick Crum joins us from the RTV6 backyard, and we're going to answer some emails this afternoon. So Dave starts us off today, Dr. Dirt. Here's the question. He says, for the past couple of years, the leaves on my river birch have started turning lighter green earlier in the summer and are falling off earlier in the fall. He says, it looks like it's dying. What can I do, Dave says.
Well, you know, that's one of my favorite trees, but it's subject to injury from the high soil pH we have here, and that means it cannot pick up enough iron. And so what happens, you get the yellow leaves. So basically what you have to do is acidify the soil, and you do that with ironite at this time of the year, and you use it according to label instructions. You may have to use it 2 or 3 years in a row, but go ahead and use that. It won't burn grass. If you use sulfur, which you can use during the winter months, but it'll burn grass. So use some ironite now, and then maybe this fall use some sulfur. Lower the pH, and then that color should come back.
And where can you pick that up, those two products?
Oh, any lawn and garden center would have that.
All right, so on to our next question now. We're hearing from Alan. Alan writes, I have blackberry canes that didn't produce last year and are now 8 to 10 feet long. They are green on the end. Do I cut them back, he says.
Okay, get out the tape measure and your pruning shears. Prune them back to 48 inches, and then what will happen, that will cause suckers to, or shoots to form on those stems. And then when those canes, the new growth gets up about 36 inches, you pinch the top out of that, and that new growth will then have the berries. Then after the fruit has been picked and harvested, you can cut those canes all the way back to the ground because new canes will have come up during the spring.
All right, got some work to do. Susan's up next. She writes, she's honest here. My roses need help. I never know if I should trim the climbers and bush roses in the fall or spring. I would also like them to produce more blooms.
Okay, on climbers, what you do after they finish flowering, you cut those off at ground level because they're not going to flower anymore. But in the meantime, what happens in the spring, the new shoots come up, and when those shoots get about 12, 14 inches high, you pinch the top of those, and then that causes it to branch out. And when that growth gets 12 or 14 inches, you pinch it again. So you're building a nice bushy plant. And so that's how you handle the climbing roses. On the bush roses, we cut those back to 18 inches, a half a cup of fertilizer. April, May, June, July, and August, you'll have lots of flowers.
All right, real quick for our last one, Dr. Dirt. Steve asks, when is a good time to divide perennials such as hostas and daylilies?
Okay, Ashley gave us a great weather forecast. Once it warms up here, the soil is going to dry out quickly, so I would do it right away.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Dr. Dirt. Good to see you again.
My pleasure.
And if you have a question for Dr. Dirt, just email it to drdirt@theindychannel.com. We do this every Monday. He answers your questions right here on RTV6 News at noon.